The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah! Go Cowboys! Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Nick Harris, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Friday, October 25th, 2024, Season 20, Episode number 55. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Why are you looking at me like, what'd I do?
My college number, 55.
Oh, okay. You got to tell me, because I was like, oh, God, what did I do? I said something wrong. What did I say?
Go Tigers.
Hanging in the rafters.
Oh, man. Brian,
Go Tigers.
The long snapper.
Yeah, how about that?
The long snapper.
A lot of crazy days doing that.
Hey man, I've learned if you got a kid out there and you want that kid to be in the NFL, if you want to be in the NFL, teach him how to long snap.
Yeah,
it's the best job in the NFL.
Debate, golf, anything, tennis,
whatever,
anything. Yeah.
It works. All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. It's a Friday. We get you ready for Cowboys versus 49ers. That'll happen this Sunday on Sunday Night Football. We will head out tomorrow, heading down to San Francisco. And so today, it's our job to get you ready and let you know what we think is going to happen in Sunday's game. Let's start first with the injury roundup. Yesterday, a couple players didn't practice for the Cowboys. Deron Bland still not practicing. Micah Parsons still not practicing. Nick Vigil not practicing. He actually was limited on Wednesday, but did not practice yesterday. Then they had a couple guys that were limited, Eric Kendricks and Ryan Flanoy. Full practice, though, for Kalen Carson, which is a good sign, hopefully, that maybe they can get him back and get him back in the lineup. Talk to me about what you guys are hearing as far as these injuries are concerned.
Yeah, sounds good on the Kalen Carson front, which is good because it doesn't sound too great on the Deron Bland front. So I think Carson will be back to be in a starting role for these Cowboys on Sunday. It sounds like the Saturday practice is going to be the big threshold for both Bland and Parsons. I'm not expecting Parsons to go at this point. But Saturday, if he can somehow be a full participant in practice by tomorrow, then that'll kind of lead more confidence towards him playing on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it is good news with Carson's situation, but man, it's been a long, strange journey. I guess that was a song back in the day, Long Strange Journey, and
by whom?
I think it was the Grateful Dead.
Okay.
Sing it.
What a long, strange journey. Something like that.
There you go.
It's kind of, that's the tune. Yeah, we go out to California. We'll look up the Grateful Dead for you.
Long, strange trip, maybe?
Is that Journey? Trip,
Journey.
Is that the song?
It is Grateful Dead, though.
Yeah.
Are we fact-checking songs now?
Yeah, I'm trying to find a song.
Man, you're going to call me out on this.
Right. Is that what we're doing?
I just want
What
to
a
make sure you're right.
long, strange journey.
Trip, journey, close enough.
Yeah,
It's something like that.
Okay, but anyway, it's been a Grateful Dead trip for these guys for Carson's shoulder. It seems to like they kind of get it to a point and then it doesn't respond like they thought it was going to respond going forward. So they've had a lot of issues with it right now. And hopefully it's coming back around. Like I say, the Bland thing, Parsons thing, I have my doubts about that one today. I think we'll probably get the injury report and that'll probably say an out there. I know for sure with Parsons, but we'll see with Bland. Hopefully that turns around. But the Carson ones, they've been trying for weeks to get that thing right, and it gets to where it needs to be, and then it kind of then goes back to where it was, and so it's been a little bit of a struggle.
What are you guys hearing with regards to Parsons? Is this one of those things where this is going to take significantly more time, or is he literally like at that point where it's like, it could be literally next week he could be fine and ready to play, or is this really like, no, this is going to take a little while. He's gonna be out a minute.
Well, when the idea of not putting him on the IR came about after the Giants game, it was with the understanding that he would be back within 4 games, and that 4th game is next week against Atlanta. So the hope and the expectation would be that he can make it back by then, but
at the latest,
correct, yeah. But I think there's a lot of desire to make sure that he's 100% before he gets back out on the field,
which is smart. Obviously,
yeah. You
got a player of that caliber, you don't want to mess up and put him back out there and then have more problems later.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, you would rather have him for the November-December stretch than force him back early October, I guess.
Love to have him this week, though.
For sure, 100%.
With the struggles that the 49ers have had on offense and maybe having to play a little bit, and I really do appreciate the the guys that played in a backup role, with how they've been able to kind of, instead of playing 15, 18 snaps, they're having to play 40 snaps, and they're holding up pretty well. It's just, man, in these games, when the other team's a little bit compromised, it'd be nice to have your best players as well, maybe to take advantage of that. But it seems pretty even now with the players they might be having out and then the players you're having out. So it's that part of it kind of stings for the Cowboys a little bit.
Take me back to the early part of the season and walk me through your thoughts on where you thought Kalen Carson was. I know coming out of training camp,
I way overrated him.
Well, but I do want to say, like, coming out of training camp, I think we all thought he was ready for an increased role that he was going to have to play. What did you guys see in those early games specifically that you're like, this is an area where, okay, he was what I thought he was, and this is an area where I feel like he's got a lot of development to go?
I way overrated him because I knew him coming out of Wake Forest. And then I saw in the preseason and some of the training camp practices where something bad happened to him, the next play he was on it. He was, it took something. If you remember the preseason game against the Rams, they kind of bullied him a little bit to start the game. And then after he kind of realized, like, okay, I could play with these guys. And then he started tackling, he started covering everything. Him and Nealon, I feel so bad for both those guys because I feel like that Nealon's on his way up. And the more that those guys were going to get to play, the better they were. So I kind of feel like with Carson, I overrated him because I overrated him because I'm thinking, like, this guy is going to be a contributor. He is going to help. He's going to play at a high level, and he's going to be physical, and he's going to tackle, and he's going to cover, and he's going to maybe make you think about playing Bland some at the nickel. He's going to be that good that he's going to, help you move some guys around. But this injury thing it set him way back. And I know he'll be aggressive coming out and trying to get things done. But I just feel terrible for him and Nealon because I just felt like they were two young guys that were at least going the right direction.
Yeah, in Carson's case, I think there's a lot of products of maybe both sides of the ball not being as good as we thought in training camp, and this is probably a minor product of that. But you do see him out in training camp against the Rams, or preseason against the Rams. That was the one I wanted to bring up as well, Brian, just because he did get picked on early on in that game and he responded well. But I maybe expected a little bit more from him in this starting role, so much so that I present the question, would you start Amani Oruwariye over Carson in this game?
Yeah.
You would consider that?
I would consider it, absolutely. I think Oruwariye has been more consistent. He's longer. He can kind of give you more physicality in the secondary, I feel like. Even though Carson is a physical guy, I don't think he quite knows how to marry the physicality with the change of direction just yet, whereas Oruwariye does it a little bit better. Bland is the better guy of the three, no doubt, but I think if you want experience, you throw in Oruwariye for a game like this. If you were playing like the Panthers, and not to discredit the Panthers, or maybe to discredit the
discredited the Panthers.
Yeah, maybe to discredit the Panthers. If you were playing the Panthers or, I don't know, another team that you feel comfortable letting a rookie get some reps in that kind of opportunity, then I would probably throw out Carson. But in a situation like this, I'd like to see Oruwariye.
I agree with you this week. Mainly because you're coming off the injury. Anybody, doesn't matter what stage in your career you're at. Just anytime you're coming back from an injury, it's still going to be a little bit of a, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's going to take a little bit for you to get back into rhythm. But with him, I thought he started his career in the NFL doing such a good job. And you look back at the tape, yes, there are plays that he missed. They scored touchdowns on him. But he is a rookie. And for that specific position, you're basically on your own when you're defending the play. Like, there's so many good things that he did. And it's always remembering just kind of like where he's at in his career and being given some grace in that sense that, yes, there's going to be bad plays that you're going to put on tape. But I think what you pointed out, Brian, it's something that it's key and that I always look for in young players is how are they going to come back after a bad play mentally, because that can be very, very challenging for young players. And I think he's handled the mental aspect of the game very, very well. Now, obviously, with time comes the experience and him improving his overall game. But it's unfortunate that he did end up getting hurt at the time that he did.
All right, so I had a couple questions for you guys. I'm going to throw a couple quick questions at you before we get to our first break. These are big picture questions about the Cowboys versus the Niners. Which offensive player, and this is besides Dak Prescott, which offensive player do you think the Dallas Cowboys need more desperately to play their best game this week in order for them to be able to win?
Can I say Dalvin Cook?
Sure. Yeah. Throw that out there.
I think Dalvin Cook. I think this is the week for Dalvin Cook. And if he gets an opportunity.
You're bringing some insight here.
If this is the opportunity for him, then give him double-digit carries and let him see what he can roll with. Because if they bring out Dalvin Cook and he has a great game for this offense, we could be looking at a much different offense these final 11 weeks.
Also, so we don't feel stupid that we've been on every show here. Where is he? Exactly. Bring him up.
Exactly. I will say, with the Dalvin Cook case, I don't think he's 2022 Dalvin Cook, but I also don't think he's 2023 Dalvin Cook. I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. And if he can find even half of what he was in 2022, it's miles better than what they have right now.
Would this be a told you so moment for you if that happened, if he comes out and plays well? I told you guys, take a look at this guy. I wonder how many people would say, "Hey,
probably the whole fan base is probably going to say that, right?"
Probably the whole fan base. Yeah, I've been a little bit lower on expectation just because we haven't seen him in a full role in 2 years. But I do think he still has more to contribute in his career.
I think the told you so moment for me when it comes to these running backs was Zeke against the Lions. That was that I told you so. Don't go into these games wasting, you go to the Pittsburgh game and you have some success. What was wrong? What happened? If I were to question the staff, I'd say, what changed between the time you got off the plane from Pittsburgh to getting ready for the Lions? Why did all of a sudden that you decided that, okay, let's go this route. Let's load up Zeke in this game and see if we can get, to me, I agree. I'd like to see before you even entertain maybe making a trade, play Dalvin Cook and see what he is. Just see. Maybe you catch lightning in the bottle these last 11 weeks. Yeah. Maybe you do. Maybe it's like that, okay, well, yeah, we didn't play him early, but our running game looks different now. He's helping our offensive line, the physicality, the cutting ability, the ability to read, to be able to make people miss. Like, guys, this dude is so fresh right now and ready to play. He's going to want to prove that he could do. I mean, now maybe they won't block worth a damn for him, but I give it a go, man. Just give it a go. Give it a go.
Give it a go. Aside from him and just kind of the running game as a whole there, I would mention, and other than Dak, of course, but this goes hand in hand with him, is CeeDee Lamb. We've seen games where, let's say, other players around them are not necessarily creating plays, but once Dak and CeeDee connect and get in a rhythm together, we've seen them be able to really get the offense going and moving the chains that way. So, and I don't think I've seen, there hasn't been a game yet where CeeDee has actually gone back to CeeDee Lamb half season last year,
the last half of the season.
The last half of the season. Yeah. Thank you. CeeDee Lamb from the last half of the season from last year. He hasn't been that kind of guy. And again, this is a year where you paid your quarterback, you paid your starting wide receiver, and we still haven't seen them perform at the level that you expect them and that you have seen them perform in the past. So I would hope that maybe they get going.
Would you rather have an 80-yard day, 1 touchdown from Dalvin Cook, or 170 yards and 2 touchdowns from CeeDee?
Well,
did we win?
I'll tell you this.
Either way you win.
If you got those numbers from Dalvin Cook, they're probably winning. Which that means that probably what I've seen from this team suggests they're not going to go into a game and run the ball that much unless they're winning like they did in Pittsburgh, or they're in a close game where they have time, where they feel like they can really now run the ball. So to me, I think the winning goes hand in hand with them having a good running day.
Give me the Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, give me the Dalvin Cook.
I'm
Brian, did you have a person?
I kind of think it's got to be somebody on defense.
Well, we're going to get to that. I was saying on the offensive side of the ball.
On the offensive side of the ball. I always jump ahead on these question things you do. See, when I control the game, I kind of understand the question, and when everybody else asks, I give a completely different answer. Offensively, I think it's got to be Terrence. It's got to be Terrence Steele.
There we go. That's the answer I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, it's got to be Terrence Steele. And it might even come down to Tyler Guyton too. But whoever your tackles. That's who needs to have a game because blocking these guys, it's not gonna be easy. Bosa on one side and Floyd on the other. I think Floyd's playing pretty well for him. So, this is once again that defensive end combination that could very well give you problems. If you don't handle that, then you're gonna probably have some problems in this game.
Two things that I think this defensive line for the 49ers does really well that the Cowboys offensive line has struggled with at times this year. They struggle with a lot of things, but these two specifically, stunts, they run stunts well, and they are able to get pressure off stunts, and then they will come right at your chest too. These guys will bring the power, and for a Tyler Guyton case or a Terrence Steele case, that could be, you got to sink those feet. You got to be ready for that because Bosa and Floyd, they both have some power behind their punch.
I'd love to see a game where I don't come in here on Monday morning and tell you that 80% of the game was blocked one-on-one, and then you wonder why you had problems in the game. I mean, I'd love to be able to walk in here and say they did a really good job of helping Steele in this game. They did a really good job of helping Guyton in this game. We'd come in there and we'd say the metrics. 81% of the time they were one-on-one with their guy. It's a shame they gave up 4 sacks and 17 pressures, kind of a thing. But hopefully that'll not be the case.
With all that went wrong against Detroit, I think it was the one storyline that I think didn't get as much credence as it should have, and it got some, was just how much they were getting wrecked on the outside. That game, offensively, they couldn't do anything because Dak every play just had somebody in his face, and I think that's the part that worries me. And I look at this and I'm like, one or both of those tackles has to have an outstanding day in order for everything else that you guys mentioned to work. In order for the running game to get on track, in order for CD to get on track, they've got to get that blocked up. And right now, that is the last that I've seen of them, and it wasn't very good. They got to be better than that if they expect to get a win this weekend. All right, we're going to take our first break. We'll come back. We'll get to a little Yeti time with Amber. In the third segment, we'll get back to one of those other questions. Maybe get some questions from you guys. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
That's a lie.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Don't put off getting your oil change, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's Stay in Your Car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the break.
AT&T connecting changes everything.
Welcome back. It's the second segment of the break.
Such a dramatic deal getting to that point. I don't have time to talk to you. Don't say anything to me.
That is our relationship, basically. If you wanted to sum up our relationship in one meme, it's Amber doing like
Derek
this.
doing what we need done around here, talking about food, and Amber, don't talk to me. I don't have time.
Because he's just staring, like, look away, look somewhere else. Derek has this stare that is just like intimidating.
It's really not. I'm just trying to figure out what you're doing. I'm trying to figure out where we're going with this.
Underrated, really good bit on this show is you doing the Ambar accent. That is a really underrated good
When did
bit.
that happen? Oh, just now?
Yeah, it was very slight. That's why I said underrated. Very
Do
slight.
it again.
Because I missed it, yeah.
No, you got to catch it. You got to catch it in the moment. You got to catch it in the moment.
Can't do it on request.
Can't do it on request. That's funny. All right, welcome back. We're live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Stars. Time for a little Yeti time with AG. What you got over there, Amber?
Well, this segment is presented by Yeti. Yeti. Officially licensed Yeti cowboy gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com.
All right.
You could. I was down in the real quick. I was doing the post-game show of the Lions game. You can get a Yeti cup with beverage in it for. They'll sell it to you. Like,
at the stadium?
At the stadium.
Oh, that's perfect.
I was like thinking, how do I do this?
Yeah, that keeps it cold.
But yeah, no, they do. You can get a cowboy Yeti with beverage in it. And
Nice.
it looked really good. And I was thinking, how do I do this?
I mean,
I know.
you just got to have cash or something.
You got to just throw your credit card down there and go.
That's it.
But
Simple.
Throw your credit card down.
Throw your credit card
For
down.
him, it's like calling some random dude in Costa Rica, being like, how can I get this for free? And then he hasn't walked to him like 5 minutes later.
Oh, Brian's got the connections. Believe that Brian's got the connections everywhere.
All right.
I'll get me one of those cups.
All right. Well,
no
for this game, I thought we will all get in touch with our emotions.
Oh,
and
no.
go
Bad time for this.
You got the wrong show.
This is a bad idea.
You need to be talking to another
I
show.
don't
This
like
isn't
this
the right
idea.
show for this.
All right, so it's just going back down memory lane a little bit, and I'm gonna just give different emotions, and you guys are gonna give me a memory of something that occurred during your time here with the Cowboys or experience with the Cowboys that made you feel that way. Okay.
Very limited.
All right, the first one. Let's say happiness. Let's start with a happy one. Happy thoughts.
Happiness.
A moment that made you feel happy.
Anytime that when I was on the road trip with you guys and we were playing in Philadelphia or New York and we won the game and I could turn and MF all those fans. The visiting fan, the home team fans.
That was fun.
Derek would look at me and go, "Stop this, stop!" And
that was fun.
I would be going off on those fans, and that always made me so happy, knowing that you could go into a place like Philadelphia, New York, and those the Commanders, all those places. I love that so much. I just loved seeing fans get shut up, especially the home team fans when we were on the road. That was happiness for me.
Absolutely.
I would say for me, it was the 2016 season as a whole.
11 straight.
Man, that was so much fun. That was the best
Beat
year.
Zeke.
It was the best because everything, when Zeke and Dak arrived, from the moment that first game started, when Dak became, started playing and Dak was playing well and they were winning.
11 straight.
It just went on this run where it was just like, man, I don't even know how to describe it. Everything we touched turned to gold. Like it was just having those guys. That was the year we did the Breakfast Club video where Zeke's doing the feed me and like that thing blew up. And at the end of the year, we did that really great series, Finish This Fight, where we had all the players kind of talking about their own individual fights and battle. And it was, man, just that year was just so remarkable.
Aaron
The
Rodgers.
product on the football, the product on the football field was great. The new blood that it was injected into the organization was great. The content was fun. Everything was exciting. And then it ended.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. That
250 miles an hour in the car and just right into the wall.
Hold on. We're staying on happy. You're changing emotions here.
But that whole season, I was just really happy.
Well,
that was a great season.
We went on. It was an incredible run.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then when it ended, it just was like
we were all kind of looking at each other like,
what just happened? No, this is not supposed to stop.
You're changing emotions. What was your happy moment, Nick?
But for me, man, there's been so many. I've been blessed here. I think the first thing that came to mind.
Paper.
right. I've been blessed in my 2 years. I really have. I think the first moment that came to mind though was my very first game that I covered with you guys, 40-0 in New York. It was a great hotel. I had great food that morning, and it was just a fun trip.
And you were like, "This is how it's gonna be every week."
Yeah, I remember I tapped Derek on the shoulder on the plane right before we took off from New York, and I was like, "Hey, I'm just saying, I've been here one game and it's 40-0.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Exactly.
All right, next one, a moment of surprise.
The Des not catch game. Because me, Nick, Shannon, Dave Hellman, Derek, we were all standing right there. That ball went up. He caught that thing. That official said he caught that thing. The ball's going to be right there. You know, that was a moment. And then looking across the field and seeing McCarthy challenge it and actually win it. I'm like, there's no way. It was like I was like shocked, surprised.
Mm-hmm.
How could they? This is a catch. This is he caught the ball, made a football move. How? That to me was my moment of being here. Like how shocked. Remember Shannon and I walking, trying to get through the crowd to get back to the locker room, and how disappointed and just surprised, shocked, whatever. I think shock was the most emotion that I had at that time. That they did not think that was a catch. When we actually found out it was a catch. Yeah.
For me, I was trying to look it up real quick. I'm pretty sure it was in the 2005 season, I think. We're at Texas Stadium. Cowboys were leading by 2 touchdowns.
Against the Commanders?
Against the Commanders at the time.
Santana Moss.
And me and Nick had left. The way that you had to get down to the field, you had to walk down this long hallway to get down to the elevator, and then you take the elevator down. And then once you got down the field, then you had to walk through the tunnel to get up to the field. When we left our seats, the Cowboys were still up 2 touchdowns. Yeah. By the time we got down, they were down. Yeah. It's Santana Moss just back to back, bam, bam, and that was just like it was. I was like, wait, what happened? Like that was the most surprise I think I've ever been working there. Like, what did we miss? What happened in this situation to go from being winning and thinking at that point you have 2 touchdowns in the late fourth quarter? You're like, they're gonna win. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, no, you're not.
Can
you're
I say
gonna win.
a real quick one too? The Atlanta game that they got the onside kick.
The watermelon kick game.
The watermelon kick game. I'm like, how are we going to win this game? It was just crazy.
Fun.
Yeah, that was a little bit of shock. Like they really didn't recover that ball,
right?
Like that was shocking to me.
Mine's got to be the playoff loss last year, for specifically the first half. I looked up at halftime and I was just like,
yeah,
this is over.
Right?
Yeah, like wow,
just like that.
Maybe I should go get a plate of food. You know,
a close number 2 is Jerry Jones calling an impromptu press conference before a game in Carolina last year. That was a surprise.
That was a surprise.
Didn't have that one on my bingo card. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
All right, this one is a hard one.
Okay.
And I go with you, Derek. You started off since you got like getting scared. Disgust.
Well, I think recency bias is going to play in here. That playoff game against Green Bay last year, I was totally disgusted. I mean, I remember I left the stadium and I went home, and both me and my wife were just like you. It was that raw, just like, what the was that?
Yeah.
Like, what was that? All this season, you got on this run after the bye last year. You're rolling, and by the way, everything worked out for Dallas toward the end of the season, to where they now were the 2nd seed. Yeah. They had won the division. You looked at it and you were like, really? All you got to really worry about is getting to San Francisco. And by the way, San Francisco might have a stumble there along the way. You might have a home playoff game in the NFC Championship. Like everything had lined up, and then for it to happen like it happened, that was probably the most disgusted that I can recall, I guess, at least. That was a hard one. That was a really hard one to get over.
Yeah.
This story was only communicated to me by Nikki Eatman, but this is the first thing that popped into my mind. There was a certain employee of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not going to air any names here.
Y'all are scaring me now.
Last year at training camp, got a raw hot dog and dipped it in community, I think honey mustard.
We all
honey
know.
mustard. I think, was it honey mustard? And then took a bite and then went right back in. and this was like a big bowl of, I think it was honey mustard, and I never touched that honey mustard. Even
That's
this
pretty
year,
disgusting.
It's pretty bad.
Right.
It's also not it's also not like a one-time thing. Like there are many stories like that about this individual.
Seems to happen
Are there?
regularly?
Yeah.
Is this?
Don't say names, Brian.
We're not doing names.
We're not doing that on here.
Not doing names.
Is it the same one I'm thinking of?
We'll talk about it in the break.
Yes.
We're not doing names.
Let's
Sorry,
not
fans.
do that.
Sorry, fans.
Let's not do
But
that.
that is disgusting.
This has got a pattern. Got a pattern here.
All right.
I think you might be thinking of somebody, but it's not that person. But we'll talk about it.
Okay, I'll circle back because I've got a couple of stories, but that happened.
Oh, gosh.
I think it was. I'm going to go back to the 2016 season when we talked about that to be the number one seed. You know, you're just thinking like, man, this team is rolling, and I was disgusted at how that season ended.
Yeah,
because you had everything going. I mean, usually when you're the number one seed, you get all those home games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got you're playing. I mean, everything is kind of going the right way for you. And that was disgusting. The Green Bay game last year, you know, that to me is like those things, they do happen. But when you're the number one seed, everything sets up for you. They set it up the best way for you to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Last year, I didn't think, I'm thinking, it's not really a Super Bowl, maybe not a Super Bowl team. But that 16 team, I thought that was a Super Bowl team.
Even more than 07, because 07 was another year where everything had lined up for them.
Yeah.
They had a home game, they had a bye, they had a home game against the Giants, and they just they get beat there, and you
beat them twice.
You beat them twice, and so everybody felt very confident going into that game, and Dallas could win it, and then to lose it. Now, of course, the Giants went on to win the championship. Yeah. Their defensive front was maybe one of the best defensive fronts I've watched in person. They were really, really good. But, man, that was another one. And I would even say, kind of surprised nobody mentioned Des caught it. Like, that moment was disgusting. I know you mentioned another one. But from a disgust standpoint, but from a disgust standpoint, I think the more I saw the replay, the more I was kind of disgusted by it. Because I'm like, that got stolen from them.
Whoa.
That should have been a catch.
What was that plane ride like back home after that game?
After the Des game?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what was weird about it. Like I say, Shannon and I were going through the crowd. We got trapped sometime out. We were on the sidelines, and we couldn't. I don't know. We lost track.
It's hard in that stadium too.
We couldn't navigate. Now Shannon and I are going through the crowd. Like we're literally trying to get through Packer fans that were. So you're walking through the concourse, and then they wouldn't let us in. You know, we're like, you have so many clothes on. You're digging for your officials pass.
It's like 15 degrees.
It wasn't that bad actually. It was.
It was actually a pretty good day. I think it was like 20-something degrees.
I was way over.
It wasn't. But in Green Bay in January,
it could have been. It could have been
Green Bay in January. You were like, geez,
cold is cold.
Yeah,
cold is cold.
That game was just shocking that they got the call wrong. That's where I was. But I'll tell you what, it's disappointing, right? What's the
disgusting? Makes you want to throw up.
The drafts we had when I was in player personnel in 2001 to those 3 years, those 5 and 11 teams, I've never been more disgusted with how we performed. Never been disgusted. I mean, when you start to talk about a professional on that, how I'm like, we've got to be better than this, and we weren't. We really, really weren't. And it got Bill Parcells. It got us maybe going the right direction. But that was some really disgusting times for me personally. That I go because I've done this thing right before. I've seen it done right before. We just didn't do it right. And that was disgusting.
Real quick, I'll also mention you said what was the locker room like after that game. It was
very somber.
That was maybe the only time I've ever seen Jason Witten kind of lose his cool with the media. Yeah. I remember we were walking in, and you got to understand when you're in the locker room after the game, there's a lot going on. Players are trying to get to and from the showers, and media's kind of coming in, and it's a lot. And for a playoff game, there's a ton of media, so there's all these clogs. And typically, most of the players, they just kind of understand. Hey, excuse me, guys. Excuse me. Got trying to get my locker. Jason was like, "Guys, get the and he's like, and I'd never seen him lose his cool like that with the media, but I understood it. I think they all were, and Des was just like
Des set his locker with his uniform on. I remember that.
Yeah,
I got that.
it's just like I think the level of disgust is the right word.
Yeah.
The level of feeling like you had something stolen from you.
Yeah.
I think they all felt like this was our moment. We had this game. This was our moment. We were ready to move on to that next level and finally exercise all these demons. And basically that ref stole it from us. And that was the impression I got. They felt it. That locker room felt more angry than maybe I've ever seen a locker room after a game.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do one last word real quick to change the vibe because this is just I feel disgusted right now.
Disgusted.
All right. I'll start with you, Nick. Relief.
Really? When I got out of here. No.
Damn.
No, I'm playing. Let me think.
You didn't really leave.
Exactly. I'm still here. Relief. Oh man, that's a tough one. This is going to be an easy answer, but since it's San Francisco week, the worst plane trip we had last year, in my opinion, was San Francisco because we got back at, I think, 4:15 in the morning. I had an hour drive to get home, and then I had to be on a 9 a.m. podcast the very next day. And so did that 9 a.m. podcast off of maybe 2 hours sleep, went back home, and when I laid in that bed, 42:10, everything in my mind gone, relief, and I slept for probably 10 hours that day. I was like, something big could happen, I don't care. Patrick and Nick will have it covered. I was like, I'm sleeping today. That was my relief.
Relief. I never had to go on a road trip again after Buffalo. That was relief. I talked about like MF and the fans. That was the fun part. But now that I don't, like after that Buffalo trip, and Derek agreed that we can have great pre and post game shows in the studio.
I remember that trip very vividly.
I swear to God, Rob Phillips and I, when that door opened, I looked at Rob Phillips and I go, "You ready?" We landed in Houston and that door opened, I said, "We're jumping onto the tarmac. Let's go." And he was with me. He was like, "Let's go." And we kind of were like, and no, we'll get in trouble, man. We really will. We're going to get in trouble. They opened that door. Like, seriously, Rob and I would have jumped from the plane down to the tarmac, maybe had a broken leg, and crawled to the Avis or Hertz rent-a-car place.
Run through exactly what happened on that trip again.
We flew through a hurricane. Or a tornado.
It was not a hurricane. But it was. We were running out of fuel because we were avoiding some storm, and then we were circling. Was it Houston?
That plane is huge.
Circling Houston over and over. Like, oh, there's that again. And we circle.
It wasn't that bad. Really, it wasn't that bad.
They're lying to you right now. That plane was like a 757, and that thing looked like a paper airplane.
It was upside down.
It was, and the players were like, "Oh, hey!" And they're back.
There's nothing that drives. Well, there's a lot of things that drive me crazy, but one of the things that I hate is when you're going through some serious like turbulence, and people are like, "Woo, woo!" Like having fun with them. Like, stop! I want to punch you in the face right now.
That plane down and dip, and then next thing
I didn't even notice it. I was watching Sons of Anarchy. I had no idea.
The wing was just bouncing. I looked out like say Rob Phillips was in front of me.
It was bad. Really Rob's hair was like this, all the way up. If you guys know Rob, his hair is down.
Like Ace
it was
Ventura
all the way up.
It
was
That's because he was messing with his hair. Like
Mickey was next to him, like, "Oh, look, it's the moon again. We're just circling around." And Rob
it was a sitcom, is what it was.
Rob looks at Mickey like, "Mickey, shut the F up."
Sounds like an episode of Atlanta.
Right. And so
that's great.
But like when we landed Houston, and literally
to refuel.
Rob and I were thinking, we got to fly through this going back home again. We just survived it. When that door opened, I looked at him. Let's go. And he's like, "You think?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go. We can make it. We'll just get our bags later. We'll just jump down and get out."
And getting off an airplane without you being told to do so is nearly impossible. Like they will not let you get off an airplane.
It's also a federal crime. I think it's
right.
Like
I want to say that like you get arrested.
Rob and I were willing to spend time like at Lew Sterrett jail or wherever we're at Houston's jail. Yeah.
It's a little Harris County jail for the night. Hey,
exactly.
I don't have to fly home.
All right, just to end it, what was your sense of relief?
Honestly, I'm gonna be real honest with you guys right now. I've not had a single moment of relief since I've been working here. There's always something that has me stressed. every single moment of every single day. There is no relief because as soon as I think there's going to be some relief, something else walks in my door and it creates more stress.
I have a moment of relief for him. I don't think we can shout out this restaurant because it's not a sponsor. But there's a certain restaurant very close by that when he'll go for lunch and he'll pick up a little bowl and he will close that door, and I see relief on his face when he closes that door for his lunch.
For like 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
And then I open the door and the world comes back.
His Dr. Pepper on the plane when it starts pouring in the glass.
Have you told the story on air? Are you allowed to about saving a name?
The domain?
Yeah.
I think I've told that story. I think I've told that.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, Nick is like, we got to do a Deep Blue on that. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to relive that trauma.
I don't think I know this.
You've never heard the story about how DallasCowboys.com almost got lost?
I don't think so.
He put it on his
third segment.
I don't know if we have enough time.
Yeah. It's credit
I don't know if we have enough time. But it was suffice it to say, there was a moment when DallasCowboys.com was available for anybody in the world to just go out and just purchase.
It's dangerous.
You just go on Network Solutions and you just purchase it.
Yeah.
It was available. And yeah.
Wow.
For how many minutes?
Honestly, I don't know. It was less than a few hours.
Okay.
But it was a few hours that
But it was overnight, right?
Yeah, it was over. And ironically, it was the night that the Packers, that the Cowboys went to Green Bay and got destroyed. And the next day, Wade Phillips got fired. Yeah. So it all happened. And that's kind of the Deep Blue story is you tell the whole story of that weekend and how it all came about. And then all this other stuff that was happening behind the scenes that most fans, all they knew was they went to DallasCowboys.com and they saw a picture of little girls playing soccer saying this domain is available or whatever it said, right?
How does that happen?
Whole story. It's a whole story. It's a whole story. Once again, my life here, it has a lot of things around it. There's a lot of
It's going to win an award.
There's a lot of angst. All right.
Well,
you done?
Yeah.
Thanks,
you sure?
Yeti.
Let's end the show. Predictions.
Well, we can't end the show yet. We gotta go to final break. We'll come back, and then we'll get some predictions, and then we'll go eat lunch.
Oh, it's fun.
All right, we'll be back.
Thanks.
DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag & Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag & Turf, the official Ag & Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a Pepper thing.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
You were going to say blockchain. Jeez. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game, but don't take our word for it. Digital Trends said the LG OLED G4 has the best picture quality they've ever seen. See it for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
I would say that's disgust.
I would say so too. Once again, on brand. On brand. All right, appreciate you guys joining us. Final segment of the show. More stress, like just more stress. It keeps coming. All right, this segment brought to you by Blockchain. Let's get some picks before we end the show. Let's go around the table. Tell me what you think. Who do you think is going to win? Give me a final score. Let's start with you, Nick.
Yeah, Ambar had to take the games away on Fridays because I kept winning, but I'm 5-1 on these picks. I'm just letting you know. I'm taking the Niners this week. I do think it's going to be a close game, though. I think there is going to be some confidence that the Cowboys can take out of this one. But the thing I look at specifically is the Cowboys' inability to create pressure and how that has affected or not affected the Niners' offense this year. And so for that, I think the Niners win a close one here.
I'm going to pick the Niners as well. I'm going to go 26-16 on the final.
The love for the star wants me to pick them, but my head and what I've seen chooses otherwise. So I think it's going to be a close game, though. In my mind, I see it being 23-20 Niners.
This is when I rely on the football gods and how they typically operate. Every time everybody thinks one thing,
think the other.
Does the other. And that's why I'm thinking Dallas wins this game on the road. They shake that demon that is San Francisco.
Please do.
And they get a win on the road, 2017. Please. And we'll see where it goes from there.
So Pittsburgh, make it a Pittsburgh game.
I did say they were going to win one of these two games. They lost to Detroit one, so they got to win this one. Here
we all had the Cowboys scoring 20 points or less. They've only done that twice this season, and they have not done that since the loss to the Ravens. It's scoring more than 20, I should say.
More than 20, yeah.
So, man, this offense.
But what we know is, after the bye, they get it rolling. All of a sudden, the offense is rolling. And you just told us, Dalvin Cook, you expect him. So, hey, here we go. We got Dalvin Cook. We got CD and Dak.
Maybe Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, we'll see. But the point is, I think there are going to be some differences. We'll see some differences. Whether they win or lose, I think we'll see some differences this week. We'll see some things that they've changed up, and hopefully it's enough, and we'll see how that goes.
Until I think it's going to be a fun game.
I do too.
I think it's going to be a fun game.
And we'll be back on Monday. We'll tell you what went right and wrong.
What happened to the fan questions, Derek?
You took the entire time. You took the entire time. Fans, call her, text her, email her, X her, whatever it is. All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back on Monday. We'll tell you what went right and wrong for the Cowboys. Till then, for Nick Harris, Bryan Broaddus, Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!